At 6 p.m., we're taking you deeper into the impact of the coronavirus through conversations with local leaders and experts. Tonight, we're joined by Tuscumbia Mayor Kerry Underwood. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Mayor Underwood, you just heard from Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle talking about the impact of the coronavirus on the city's budget. What impact is it having on Tuscumbia's budget?
Yeah, we're expecting the same. We are typically like a 60-day delay. So April sales will be collected by the 20th of May, and then we'll get them by the end of the month after that. The very last day of the month typically. So we'll be 60 days delayed in seeing the actual effects that it's going to have on our budget. But we're expecting, the lodgings tax is going to be significant reduction. We're expecting, 80% under what it was before. We're also expecting in our retail sales to take a hit as well. I concur with what everyone's saying with the restaurant sales. We're expecting at least a $200,000 reduction. So we're working on how can we plan for that for the next 6 months so we can see where we're at the end of the year. We have to make sure we stay within budget.
Is there anything you can do to help businesses during this difficult time?
Well, we're an encouraging voice for them. There's just a place, and if you would give me just a moment to brag on the local businesses as well. The entrepreneurial spirit is a special one, and these folks took it on the chin early and closed up and changed the way they did business to make sure folks were protected. And so at this point, we want to help encourage them. We want to help promote when the time comes. As you have probably reported, 50% of the occupancy is what they can have in the retail stores. The restaurants are still precluded from operating. And so we just want to encourage people to continue to connect with the citizens of all the shows, to continue connecting the unique ways they've been doing lately, but also to remember to start shopping with them when the stores open. So we're trying to encourage both the store owners as well as the citizens to reconnect again.
Yeah, and Sydney Martin mentioned this in her piece just a moment ago. Thank goodness for the regulars for these restaurants who are helping keep them going for the short term at least until they reopen.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. Restaurant margins are not large. They're very tight margins, and so they rely on volumes, and they're very good at what they do to produce a good product and know how to make sure that all the expenses come in line so they keep their margins and keep their profitability. So when you change that mix, it changes everything about the way they do business. Yeah. So curbside is just all they could do, and so that's all they've done. But we're looking forward to the day where there's a waiting line again for the restaurants.
That'll be nice. All right. Well, we know the stay-at-home order is scheduled to expire 5 p.m. tomorrow. How are you going to monitor businesses when some of them reopen?
Well, see, that's the beauty of how things are here in the show, and I'm sure everywhere. They already did what they needed to do prior to an order from the governor's office. So we do keep an eye on it, but these folks are aware of the dangers and want to make sure they protect the community. So we're getting the word out, we're promoting, we're making sure they know what the governor's orders are. We're connecting with them in every way that we can. But those business owners, those entrepreneurs are already on top of what they need to do and how they need to do it. Not only for their business, but for the community as well.
Yeah, and it's just an opinion. Do you think the governor made the right decision to allow that order to expire?
What do you mean on the to allow like 50% on the retail?
The stricter stay-at-home order, which she's letting expire at 5 o'clock tomorrow, being replaced with the safer at home. Do you think it was right to do that at this point?
I do. Yeah. I do. It's time for us to start moving to the middle. So we've got two different ideas that are polar opposites. One is, I've got my family business that I've had for 2 generations, and I provide for my family with that. And the other is, I've got medical conditions or a family that has medical conditions and we're concerned for our lives. And those are polar opposites. So how do you bring those two back together again so that everybody feels protected while the business is maintained at the same time? And that's hard to define, but you have to do it in phases. So this is phase 1. We're going to open up some, though not all, and we're going to make it 50%. And then in 2 weeks, we'll remeasure again. And I concur with that. I think that was the right thing to do at the right time.
All right, good. Let's switch gears here and talk about finances a little bit. We know there have been issues with the applications for the Paycheck Protection Program. Tonight, the Small Business Administration is only opening loan applications to small lenders who represent small businesses. In round 1, of course, we saw big banks flooded the system with thousands of applications, crowding out those little guys. So tonight, at least until 11 o'clock, small lenders can get their shot. So what do you have to say to the dozens of businesses out there that are struggling right now to stay open?
Yeah, well, the Payroll Protection Program is a very good thing. And I would like to, before I make those comments, I would like to brag on the banks that have handled those. They were asked to take on something that they weren't prepared for and haven't done before. And they really engaged in that process. They really worked extra long hours. They worked with my CPA office very well. And they have really worked hard to provide for their customers. And I would like to say congrats and shout out to the banks, to the loan officers, and to all the people who worked extra hours and learned processes that they weren't comfortable with. And when we can reconnect again socially, I think we need to have a Hug a Banker Day and just really express our appreciation for what they've done. But these local businesses that have payroll and are ready to get back to business and get back to work needed that boost to get them going again, to sustain the losses that they've had since we had the stay-at-home order. So the payroll protection program is a great lifeline that they threw out to us. It has been difficult with the volume to get all those in. And so, that's been a little difficult time we've had to go through. But that program is going to be what has sustained a lot of these businesses when it comes down to it when we reopen. And then we measure who has and has not survived this epidemic based on the business side of it.
You mentioned your CPA office. A lot of eyes are on Wall Street right now, so let's put you back into that role for a moment. The stock market right now, what is your advice for people in the markets as it fluctuates? A lot of people are worried.
They are, and for good cause. And so anyone that has a broker that helps them, a financial person that helps them with their investment decisions, they need to be in touch with that person, and they're primed and ready to have those discussions. But I do want to make sure that anything that we do in fear never winds up being the right thing to do. And in the market, that's easily defined as how things are done through fear. So don't overreact and say that, hey, the numbers are low, so I've got to get out now. It's not a loss until you liquidate. But follow the advice of the financial advisors that you have in place and do what they say, because they're on top of this. They've been studying this for a long time as well. And they have regular meetings with their corporate levels on advice to give out. And so we make sure we defer to those guys as much as possible because they're really on top of that market. It will come back.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. Some of the, well, we hope it anyway. But some of the rules regarding early withdrawals from individual retirement accounts have been relaxed, at least temporarily. So when should consumers look at rating that retirement account?
Well, yeah, when it comes down to bill paying, you got to do what you got to do. And those were put in there for that purpose, so that they can make their bill payments and make sure that they don't lose something along the way while they have funds in for retirement. We like to departmentalize a lot of things in life, or I do. And so if funds are for retirement, I like to use them for retirement and say, try to stay out of that until it's time to draw for your retirement days. But in today's day, we're in a different time frame. And so if those funds are available and they need them, get them, but try to be cautious with it.
Right. Yeah. Good advice.
They'll be retiring one day as well.
All right. Yeah, right. And we're going to take a quick break right now. Mayor, in just